Hey guys, it's Monday, January the 22nd, 2024. What an interesting opening. On natural gas, we got this big gap. Let's go over it real quickly and let you know my thoughts and what's cooking here. Was expecting a pop higher, but you know what? Price is giving us this big drop to 231 below the point of control. Value area low is 194. There's some kind of pivots here, but nonetheless, it's not what I was expecting. But we had to take what the market gives us. If we look at the daily, look at this big gap all the way to 251. Very interesting. And the bears got control of Friday. Let's look at our simple glance real quick. We already took out on our monthly MOBO 241, so we're below that. Could it have a crossover on the monthly? Possible. This is an area of interest. I like to accumulate and start dipping my toes in an area like this. The only thing I am concerned is on the MACD, we're smack in the middle of the line. And it had just have a crossover right now. The value area low remains 220. So it's possible we could, do some capitulation, some fake outs. So I'm very mixed. Today's a possible turning point, and it all is going to depend on the U.S. Open now. That's what I think it's all leaning. What's going to happen on the U.S. Open? MACD is still negative on the daily. We're on the little regression channel within a 6-month range. So we're hitting them on both time frames, on the weekly and on the daily. Very oversold, very overextended to the downside. An area that I will be very interested in accumulating. But the MACD always kind of tells me, no, you got all these things lining up, all this, price and time and everything. Probabilities are possible, but MACD always tells me you just got to be cautious. Maybe wait for the open, wait for some confirmation. Here is that gap. They're looking at the what is this? The monthly. You can see that we found support at this pivot at 231, and we're having a tough time at this. What is it? The you can say the 75% right here at that 238. Just trying to get up there and see if we could close above it. But the 231, I'm like 50-50. Significant, maybe, or maybe not. I don't know, but it's there. I mean, I rather prefer go and gap and in the overnight session, just push even lower and at least test 225. And then on the US session, if it's going to rip from down there. But you got this low here. You got this gap. So the gap theory is, it needs to get filled, and I'm 50-50 on that. It could get filled, and it may not, and it definitely not right away. So, it's very tricky, and this is the thing about trading. It's very, very tricky. And this looks like a bear flag. If you look at it, it could probably even, push lower. So I'm watching to see what the U.S. Open. It's going to be all dependent on volume, on where the volume is going. So let's say U.S. Open hits 9:30, and they're going to push it lower. I'm watching 225. I'm watching 221. I'm watching 215. And for today only, we got a pivot of 270, 217. So those are the levels I'm watching to see if it holds. And if I see volume like come in, strong, I might jump in. So these are the key levels. This is kind of like eerie, it's like kind of feels like, come in, get it. So if you got in, you bought this and you wrote it up here, I would start trailing my stop. That's me. Just in case the U.S. session starts and they boom want to push it. The weather's starting to get nicer and warmer, especially over here. So I don't know if that's a catalyst to maybe push it, maybe things, but that's what I'm looking for today. And this is on the, actually, no, that was the weekly chart. The daily, look at the daily. We already blew below our pivot for the day. So we're like even below it, which, gap down. So that's why I wanted to extend it. This is for the weekly. So for the weekly, it's already Monday. And look, if this doesn't hold, it's going to push even lower. It's probably going to test, what is this level? 223. Yeah. So it's going to, it could test this, which will be good. We could test it, see if it's a failed new low. If it holds, maybe we could get a retrace. And then the next thing you got to think about, all right, so how far are we going to go if February it's even weaker? So it could be more like, trading it for the week, a nice little, scalp to fill this gap. I mean, not a scalp, like a swing trade. And once you kiss 251, get out. Because, it also could push even lower. So those are the things, that is kind of like makes it a little more complicated. Filling the gap, you got 1 week towards the end of the month, it gets toppy and then it pulls back down. So now they're like forcing you to like fill this gap, and then they're going to slam it even harder. So this is the things. So if it's going to fill the gap, it's kind of like a guaranteed play, but then, trap you at the end, the beginning of February and push it lower. If that's going to play out. And then with the reversal, everything lining up, today, 194 trading days. A lot of the techniques I've been using. So, that's why it's going to come down to the U.S. session and just looking at, the volume and price action on that. So that's my game plan. If I don't see anything, I don't really like this 231. I kind of like this area more. If I don't see any bounce from here and, take out maybe this high, if this is the high for the session, I'm going to still be on the sidelines. That's going to be my game plan. But if I see volume picking up here, we could probably fill that gap. And that's going to be filled really quick. So I'll leave it there. Let's see how the U.S. session starts. And then if I have time, I'll make a video and see what played out. Good trading out there. Wish you success. Whatever you do, put your stops because it's very complicated, whatever is going to happen. But the U.S. session is going to give us clues. And I'll keep you posted on my thoughts on natural gas.